The urgent situation overseas in Ukraine. There are reports that Russian President Vladimir Putin is moving his troops into that country and putting the United States and the whole world on a kind of hair trigger. Late today, President Obama personally warned if Putin is, there will be costs. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Terry Moran reports now from Russia on crisis in Ukraine as the tension is rising at this hour.
With stealth and mystery, Vladimir Putin made his move in Ukraine. At dawn, bands of armed men appeared at the two main airports in Crimea and seized control. They wore uniforms with no insignias or identification. Their trucks had no license plates, and they spoke Russian, not Ukrainian. That was the start. Tonight, Russian troops, hundreds, perhaps as many as 2,000 ferried-in transport planes, have landed at the airports. Convoys were also seen along the roads. President Obama spoke at the White House soon after the Russian incursion.
We are now deeply concerned by reports of military movements taken by the Russian Federation inside of Ukraine. There will be costs for any military intervention in Ukraine.
In Ukraine, a country on the edge of civil war, a war that could drag in Russia, Europe, even the U.S. These were frightening developments.
We are on the edge of the not Cold War, but we are on the edge of hot war.
The real danger right now is that Ukraine is torn between Russia on the one hand, so close, so powerful, so bound to it by history and language, and the West on the other side, with its promises of freedom and democracy and prosperity.
But where the Russian forces moved in today, in Crimea, Russian is the main language. It's home to a huge Russian naval base. They welcomed these masked troops. To them, this man is still their rightful president. Viktor Yanukovych, who fled the capital city of Kiev as protesters took over there, he finally appeared in Russia at a raucous press conference and declared, "I am ready to fight for the future of Ukraine." But tonight, all eyes are on one man, Putin, and what will he do next? Terry Moran, ABC News, Moscow.
And I want to bring in ABC's chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl. So, John, tell us where we stand at this moment. Does the White House believe that Russia has invaded Ukraine, and does that require a military response?
Well, look, the White House is not saying that. The president referred to reports of an invasion, but make no mistake, Diane, you would not have seen the president of the United States come out on national television and make a statement like that if he had any reason to doubt that the Russian military is behind what we are seeing in Ukraine. But there is no discussion here of U.S. military involvement.
But the president did talk about response. He talked about costs. So what will happen next?
Well, they're deeply concerned about this. The president said very clearly there will be costs. You heard that in Terry's story. But look, they haven't specified this. One thing to look for, the Russians are hosting a major summit of 8 of the top world economies in June in Sochi, Russia. The United States could boycott that, and so could European nations as well. And that would be a big deal to Russia.
So the first thing might be just trying to isolate him diplomatically more.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Jonathan Karl.